And we are live. Okay. Give me 1 second. I have to do this because this is a live stream. Okay. Quack. From the beginning. Okay. Take 500 and I don't know. It's not actually take 500, but
At that bar.
it's been a few takes. Thank you. My speech today will be about horror games, why horror games are scary, and the difference between them. This was somehow made by me. I've put way too much effort into this. It's more than the first, second, or third take. And I have a guest speaker here. Her name is Natalie Smith. She's a junior at Cal State University. Say hi.
Hello.
There you go.
Hello.
Hello. All right, let's jump right into this. My first topic will be about immersion. Immersive gameplay mechanics and first person or over the shoulder perspectives can pull players into the game's world, making them feel like they are personally experiencing the horror. This connection between the player and the in game character intensifies fear factor. Basically, POV. As it said, first person or even sometimes third person because you can get connected to this one character and then see all the scary stuff they're going through. And in first person, you are the main character and you're going through like scary things. What is your take on this, Natalie?
I mean, yeah, the whole part about immersion is the way that the game tries to put you in that specific scenario and makes it feel like you're the one experiencing that right then and there.
Yeah,
And that's the whole part of the horror.
like in Slenderman, it's a first person game, and then you're just in the middle of the woods, first person point of view. You don't know why you're there. You just know you have to collect 8 pages and try not to die to a guy with no face, and the woods look like this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're forced to experience that nightmare
I
in
wouldn't
person.
I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish any of these slides on my worst enemy.
I might.
There you go. The certified psychopath here.
Nope.
All right,
Justified.
next. Storytelling. Engaging storytelling and well-crafted narratives can draw players into the game's world and make them emotionally invested in the characters and their fates. This emotional connection can amplify the fear when characters are in peril. So for example, like I was talking about, like playing in the third person, more like storytelling games, you are connected to a character and then you're gonna see the fear this character goes through, and you will feel fear for them if you're like an emotional type of person. Also, just if you're in a first person point of game, just the storytelling of how you got there, why you're there, how you ended up there, what you will like. Some horror games outline what you will go through, and you're just like, this sounds like some real messed up shit, and you that's just what you go through. You want to see people, you're gonna see people hanged, though. Guess what? You don't want to see that. You're gonna see it.
I mean, what this really reminds me of, you don't have it on the screen, but if anybody knows The Last of Us, I feel like that's also really good storytelling, enough to where they gave it its own show. Only one
Hmm.
game, by the way, but
And it's a
it
horror
works.
game.
Yeah.
I just wish in the show they showed more of the horror side. The show was really nice, rated 10 out of 10, but I wish it showed more of a horror side because there were some real freaky monsters in The Last of Us.
Yeah, they had a pretty unique take on the whole zombie apocalypse.
Hmm. Next. This is where we'll be talking about the genres of horror, how they differentiate each other. The next slide will be psychological horror. This side will be survival horror. These are subgenres in horror. Horror is a genre, and then we got subgenres. We got survival horror games, psychological horror games. Survival horror games are the games I choose to play. Survival horror games introduce resource management and limited ammunition, adding an element of stress to the gameplay. Players must make choices about how to conserve resources and navigate dangerous situations, intensifying the fear. The game in the top left, this game, Subnautica, a lot of it, you can go through it safely. But as I said, resource management, you'll start to need resources or you'll start to need resources that aren't in the safe areas and the game will force you to go to areas where you'll encounter horrors like this. And in my opinion, this is the worst of it because there are other leviathans in the game that are glowy, but this one isn't. So if you're hunting for resources in the dark, this has no illumination and will creep up on you like no tomorrow. And just imagine you as a human. Like me, I'm 5'8". Just imagine like me or like you. You're in this sea thing. Look how big this monster is compared to this
Hmm.
ship. It's not something you want to run into, especially if you have a fear of the deep sea. What's your take on this?
I mean, it is what it is. If you don't like the deep sea, like that's where the game takes you.
Under the sea, under the sea.
The whole surviving by yourself thing is pretty hard.
And
I don't know
another
if Minecraft counts as horror, but it is to me.
Minecraft can be scary at times. And then another take, like you could be playing, like for example, limited ammunition. You're playing a zombie game, or just imagine you're in a zombie apocalypse. Guess what? You just ran out of your last pistol. Unless you're like Natalie and you want to save the bullet, one bullet for a reason.
Okay.
The second you run out of ammo, you're kind of fucked. You're kind of
That's a choice.
screwed. You're screwed. That's the word.
I mean, pick your poison. What would you rather deal with? The zombie or the last resource?
Yeah. Next. I spelled psychological wrong, but we're going to ignore that, everybody.
Yeah, so let's point it out. First thing.
Psychological horror. Some horror games focus on psychological horror rather than physical threats. They use elements such as disturbing narratives, moral dilemmas, and psychological torment to unsettle players' minds. These games can be more subtle and thought provoking in their approach to fear. I said I play survival horror games because I do not want to play psychological horror games. Psychological horror games are like the single-handed reason why half of us even have nightmares to this day. We watch psychological horror movies or played psychological horror games. Like a lot of these times there is no real threat. It's just real freaking scary. It messes with your head. For example, if you're playing the mortuary assistant, a demon, you're like I forgot exactly what you do, but you're dealing with dead bodies, and one of these dead bodies has like a demon in it. And then the second you're starting to work on the body that has a demon in it, freaky things will happen. You're not in any immediate danger, but things around you will happen that shouldn't be, like this person at the end of the hallway, a carving that says God has left you, and then you're just like, all right, well, I don't want to go down that hallway. And then imagine later that night, if you're at home, not in the dorm, like let's just say you're at your actual home, the lights are off because it's like, I don't know, 3 in the morning, you're about to go to bed, you want to brush your teeth, you just stare down that hallway after playing this game. Yeah. Now your head is messing with you.
Yeah, it's something kind of out of The Exorcist. It's just not something you'd want to see. Random people? No. Good.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like, I'm pretty sure you've all seen that meme where you're a kid and you turn off the lights and you start making a mad dash to your room. That is exactly what psychological horror does to you. I sometimes still do that. We don't talk about that, but I sometimes still do that because I play too many horror games.
Yeah.
Atmosphere. What I am most passionate about in horror games. Creating haunting atmosphere is crucial in horror games. This can include dimly lit settings, eerie background music, and unsettling ambient sounds that build tension and anxiety. You know, quack. When music has what is it called? What is it called? You could build up a beat drop, like when you're listening to a soundtrack or something, uh, something like that. But the opposite in horror games. If there's music playing in the background, you're entering an area that's new and different for you. Like, for example, going back to Subnautica, it makes you go into dangerous areas. You're going into a new area. You have no idea how dangerous it is or what's in there. And then the music in the background isn't helping. It's some creepy thing that you don't want to hear and just makes you not want to go over there. Literally unsettling you.
Yeah, it's suspenseful. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
building tension, but you need to go there. So you want to know what's going to happen 10 minutes later? You're going to be like, "Ooh, it's creepy. I don't like being here." And then you're going to see something like this or that Reaper I showed you earlier. And you're just going to be like, "I shouldn't have come here. Let me get the fuck out of here." And then the number one thing, sounds. You can be in the middle of the forest and you hear something that shouldn't be there. You hear a loud scream in the forest, automatically, nope, out of there. Right? 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 But at the same time, you hear a sound that you shouldn't hear, you're scared. But in the forest, there is a general saying: you don't hear nothing. If you don't hear birds, if you don't hear crickets, that is as terrifying as hearing something that does not belong there. It's crazy how hearing a noise that shouldn't be there is as scary as hearing nothing. Sound is everything, at least in my opinion, in horror games, and the right sounds can absolutely set the fear factor in somebody. What do you have to say, girly?
Oh, but like besides the whole sounds thing, to kind of throw a little bit in on imagery,
Yeah,
is just like the contrast that games can also give.
the
Like
dimly lit
for
settings.
example, I mean, yeah, because you could have contrast between like Subnautica. You have the whole ocean. You can compare that image to, like what the open ocean would be, like a scene from Nemo. It's very bright, lighthearted, and then you go from like an underwater cave. That's the kind of thing that would get you scared. That's like the difference between the different scenes that a game can give you.
Yeah, it's just all eerie and everything. And when you're playing horror games, music can build that tension, but sounds, in my opinion, is everything because in real life, if you're ever put into a situation like this, I hope I'm never put into that, but in real life, you're not gonna hear random background music playing. It's those sounds that it's really gonna get you. Anyways, thank you everybody. This has been my media speech. I hope you all have a nice day and have good dreams. Say bye, Natalie.
Goodbye.